just how do you and then kind of Pear think about marketplaces and kind of evaluate marketplace opportunities?
Yeah, I think so. At the pre-seed and seed world, when we think about marketplaces, um, we don't first apply the marketplace filter. We first apply the pre-seed seed filter that we have for any opportunity. And those two things for us are, okay, who's this founder that's coming to us? Do they have like this undying zeal for what they're working on? Are they in love with this problem more than the solution that they've conceived in their mind? Do they have a kind of this burning desire to solve this problem for people? Okay, now that's great. Like, do they have skills and capabilities that back all of this up? Those are kind of table stakes. And then let's click into this problem itself that they're telling us about. Have we heard of it before? Do we think it's a big problem? If so, how big? Right. Those are the kind of the filters that matter at the super early stage. Team and market size, and you'll hear the common refrain. Uh, but like, it can be hard if you don't have concrete examples of why somebody would be looking for team and market size. And for us, team is, yes, there's an element of founder market fit. There's also this element of, does the founder have an unfair advantage in understanding the problem? Does the founder have an unfair advantage in solving the problem? Are they willing to work to build that unfair advantage, or to bring it in house if they can? And then on the market side, it's like, who cares about this problem? How painful is it for people? And like, do we believe that? Because that can be an assumption riddled exercise. And so we're looking for really concrete evidence that this exists. It's not some like, ephemeral like definition of a market size. We're kind of looking for, yes, this is obvious, but there are also obvious reasons why this problem exists. And so like, when you have those points of evidence, like, it's often the biggest markets that have the most obvious problems, like that kind of saddle them, but it then presents the most exciting opportunity to build something. And so that's when you go back to the team. Is this person going to be able to build something? Have they articulated a novel vision? So they work hand in hand. Often I think people like feel that team and market, which are these common early stage filters, function independently. So we start there. And then when it comes to a marketplace company, the exciting thing about building a marketplace is, just by definition, these are often some of the largest opportunities one can possibly conceive of. You're saying, I'm going to jump squarely into the middle of all of this spend. I'm going to like not just double my addressable market by courting both suppliers and buyers, but I'm going to create adjacent opportunities for myself upstream and downstream from both of those points. And you don't have to do upstream and downstream for both buyers and sellers just, to make it a compelling opportunity, right? Everybody has their own recipe for how they're going to do it. But I think like the specific angle that somebody comes in as a marketplace founder and shares with us is really important, because it can't just be, hey, we're going to get a bunch of buyers and sellers on this platform and charge X% just for the privilege of being there, right? That's a non-starter. So we are kind of looking for, what else have you, what other insight have you brought to the table that's going to make this, like I said earlier, indispensable for either of those parties? What operational tools are you going to give them so that they're running their business without hesitation, and they're glad to participate in whatever, or glad to allow you to participate in whatever value you're creating? So we start thinking about those things, and then like, that's all at the conceptual level. Then we get into the numbers. Right. So we've graduated from market size, and now we want to start thinking about, okay, what have you built to date? Like, have you built the core product that I talked about earlier that exists outside of the market itself? But like, do you have a functioning marketplace? Do you have any type of liquidity? Of the number of buyers out there in the world, how many are on your platform today? What are they buying? And then same thing for sellers. And I don't have hard and fast metrics there because it does depend by industry. But like the rule of thumb that I like to think about is that is actually it's more important that you haven't exhausted everybody in, on either side. Like you haven't talked to every potential supplier out there and had the door shut in your face. It's more like you've started smartly and attentively, and you've delighted somebody quickly. Like the best advice that I have for building a marketplace, or probably anything for that matter, but really a marketplace, is delight somebody, anybody, really quickly. Then you have an advocate. Then you have kind of a paradigm to replicate. You know how to serve somebody, and you kind of have a path forward from that point. Um, the other piece I would say, just like really concretely for how we evaluate early stage marketplaces, is like what is the opportunity to monetize here, and what's the timeline to unlock that opportunity. So often I find promising marketplaces that are so focused on aggregating and building beautiful tools that the question of when we turn on a monetization piece is an easy one to punt down the road. But I don't think that later stage investors see it that way as much. Like it's not a consumer company where it's about getting as many people as you can using the platform. Like you still can encounter resistance to monetization down the road. You may not, like, you may be surprised at, for instance, if you turn on payments and realize that like your payment facilitator is going to take most of the value that you're ostensibly creating there. So we're I guess looking for early stage marketplaces that aren't afraid to experiment early with monetization, and kind of have some evidence that people are glad to pay for the services that are being provided. So those are some ways that we think about it. Happy to talk more specifically on metrics and other things.